It's a new report that shows that diabetes diagnoses are dropping. The number of new diabetes cases each year has been going down for almost 10 years. And that's puzzling because diabetes is very closely associated with obesity, and obesity's been going up. People are glad to hear that diabetes is going down. The experts are happy to hear it. But again, they're still puzzled. They're not quite celebrating at the CDC because, again, people are getting heavier. More and more Americans are getting obese, and they know that obese Americans can develop diabetes. So they're still kind of sorting out the numbers and what they really mean. They think one explanation is that in the late 1990s, they changed the definition of what counts as diabetes. They expanded it. So people who didn't used to be counted as diabetic were. And for a while, for at least 10 years, that meant more and more people who in the past wouldn't have been counted as diabetic were added to the numbers. But when they did that expansion, they were catching cases that had been out there that hadn't been diagnosed before. And they think that all that settled out after about a decade went by. So as the new cases were diagnosed, say from 2011 on, it wasn't finding old cases that had been out there and now are being added because of the new definition. It's just legitimately new cases. So they think that that rise may have petered out, and that may be part of what happened. There's another thing that may have happened. There was a switch to a blood test, the A1C test. The test is much easier for patients to use and doctors to perform, but it may be having some false negatives. It may be missing some people. So that's another theory. Another possible explanation is the diagnosis of prediabetes. More and more in the last 10 or 20 years, when patients who are heavy and their blood sugar is changing, but they're not quite bad enough to be called diabetic, the doctors are being more aggressive and saying, hey, you have prediabetes, you got to exercise, here's a prescription for a lifestyle change. These things will help you head off becoming diabetic. Maybe that's paying off. The obesity rate in the US, 30 years ago, there was about 22% of American adults were obese. Now it's close to 40%, so that's been quite a rise. But the annual rate of diabetes diagnoses has dropped 35% in the last 10 years or so.